Algeria has welcomed French President Emmanuel Macron for an official visit of 3 days. The French president was received on the tarmac of the airport by his Algerian counterpart Abdelmajid Téboune to the sound of the anthems of both countries played by a military band. No less than 90 people accompanied the French president, among them 7 ministers, parliamentarians, leaders of major groups and even sportsmen. The two heads of state visited the monument on Thursday to martyrs of the country's war for independence, which ended more than 130 years of French colonial rule with Algeria's independence in 1962. Franco-Algerian relations have seen repeated crises since then. Haunted by the memory of colonization and war, relations suffered a blow a year ago after Emmanuel Macron's criticism of Algerian power. This is the second time that the French president visits the country after 2017. Many observers believe that the visit is above all a question of Paris reconciling with Algiers over the essential commodity gas, on which Europe is cruelly dependent for lack of Russian supplies.
The MPLA remains in power in Angola, according to provisional figures announced by the National Electoral Commission, when 97% of the vote had been counted. The party that had ruled Angola since independence won the general elections with 51.7% and 124 seats, while UNITA had 44.5% and 90 seats in a 230-seat parliament. Lorenzo is re-elected President of the Republic with a turnout of just over 45%. Hours before the Electoral Commission announcement, the main opposition party presented the figures of parallel counts it was carrying out, based on the minutes of polling stations. The results are not the same, but UNITA's count only refers to 1/3 of the ballots. We want to hope that there will be common sense, so that we can make the minutes for them and us, look at them one by one and add them up and arrive at the same results. UNITA also complained about the announcement of provisional results by the National Electoral Commission. The announcement of provisional results by the Electoral Commission are being made not based on what the organic law on general elections establishes, which denotes that electoral results being produced are not the true ones. For MPLA, there are no doubts about the winner, but there are conclusions to take from this suffrage. We're all learning. Some need to learn how to lose, others need to learn how to be winners. That is what we will try to do. We are open to any result. We won, and we won with an absolute majority. We will respect that and we will work for the good of our people. For the MPLA, the match is over, but UNITA promises to take the game to extra time. The Electoral Commission is yet to announce the final results.
The COVID pandemic has killed 1 million people worldwide since January, the WHO said Thursday. Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus told a news conference Thursday and called on governments in all countries to redouble their efforts in vaccination so as to achieve 70% vaccination coverage for the entire population. The WHO boss also said about 1/3 of the world's population remains unvaccinated.
This week, we crossed the tragic milestone of 1 million reported deaths so far this year. We cannot say we're learning to live with COVID-19 when 1 million people have died with COVID-19 this year alone.
Ghebreyesus also spoke about the monkeypox disease as the WHO sees what it calls an intense transmission of the epidemic in the Americas.
In the early stages of the outbreak, most reported cases were in Europe, with a smaller proportion in the Americas. That has now reversed, with less than 40% of reported cases in Europe and 60% in the Americas.
Previously limited to Central and West Africa, monkeypox has spread since May to other parts of the world, including Europe and the United States. The international community has expressed concerns over the resumption of fighting in Ethiopia between the Federal Army and the Tigray rebels after a 5-month truce in the north of the country. But more importantly, Ethiopians themselves, many in Addis Ababa, where they are voicing concerns. The fighting, which broke out Wednesday in areas of the Amhara and Afar regions, does not appear to have spread. There is nothing bigger than peace. War takes lives, money, and damages the country, and then we will become a toy for anyone, while we're busy killing each other. But there is a thing called give and take. If we really think about Ethiopians, if we really love this country, we shouldn't be at war. We know what war was like. We've lived through it before. Politics is a game of knowledge and art, and we should use that knowledge and come to the negotiating table. That should be the basis for Ethiopia, and we have to learn lessons from other countries who have been damaged by war, like Syria and others. Since the end of June, the Ethiopian government and the Tigrayan rebels have repeatedly stated their willingness to enter into peace negotiations, but they continue to disagree on the modalities. The 21-month conflict has left several thousand people dead, more than 2 million displaced, and hundreds of thousands of Ethiopians living in near starvation conditions, according to the United Nations.
At sunset on Friday last week in Somalia's capital, an evening at a hotel turned to bloodshed after an extremist group killed 21 people over the course of a 35-hour siege. There were families and businessmen, government workers, people who saw profit and promise in a country rebuilding from decades of war. I feel pain. My 2 brothers were killed here. The first I raised from when he was born till he was educated. The second brother was nearly my age, but a bit older, so we grew up sharing the same lessons at school from an early age until I became a father of 12. And even now, when he used to see me from a distance, he always wanted to hang out with me. The Al-Shabaab extremist group affiliated with Al-Qaeda for years carried out complex attacks on them. The groups tend to start with explosions, then hold out for hours as an handful of fighters exchange gunfire with security forces until a bloody morning end. It's hard to describe what happened. People were really terrified and confused. A huge explosion occurred and they couldn't help one another. On top of that, there were hand grenades being used that terrified everyone. The 4-story hotel in an highly fortified area near the international airport and government offices has been left shattered. Rebuilding, like everything else in today's global economy, would be expensive with the rising cost of construction materials. In days before the attack, new President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed vowed an offensive against Al-Shabaab to dislodge it from the large sections of Somalia it has controlled for years.